Good morning. I would like to welcome you to what a former supervisor of mine would have called an auspicious occasion. And I'm so grateful for your presence here. The faculty of the Physician Assistant Studies program, staff in the Physician Assistant program, preceptors associated with the Physician Assistants program, members of the Albemarle-based Downtown Church's Pfeiffer Friends program, importantly, parents, partners, significant others, grandparents, scholarship donors, and friends of this cohort of students, and significantly, students. We welcome you to the village of Meisenheimer and the inaugural long white coat ceremony for the first cohort of PA students at Pfeiffer University. Students, in reviewing a speech from this morning, in reviewing a speech this morning that I offered you in January of 2020, I note that I welcomed you to Meisenheimer and the village here. We listed the colleges that you came from, places like Pfeiffer University and Brevard College, places as large as the universities of North Carolina and universities of South Carolina. One of you raised your hand and said, "Could you pray for us while we navigate microbiology?" And so we did. I'm so grateful that you are all here. I want to give you just a brief bit of history of where you are, just as I did that first day to our students. 120 yards west of me, not north, even though we're on 52 north, west of me, is a statue of a diminutive woman named Emily Pruden. Emily, just like the statue, was slightly built. She suffered from a debilitating lower body condition that limited her mobility, and she was deaf. But nevertheless, and maybe this applies to some of you students, against the wishes of her parents, she left a family of strong financial means in the northeastern United States. And she came to this part of the world and she gathered unto herself young people that she identified as academically or intellectually gifted, but who lacked financial means or who lacked caretakers who understood what an education can propel you forward into. She taught them to read using Jewish and Christian scriptures to do so. And her aim was, in her words, to train them up to lead lives of useful service. To make this long story a little less long, Methodists discovered what she was doing and decided to help her fund the project. And eventually, a wealthy Methodist family called the Pfeiffers, in the middle of the Great Depression, helped build the campus in which we sit today. I do not know what Emily would make of the Albemarle campus and the fact that we have a program training future PAs. I am certain that she did not envision a university that had an MBA program or a master's in healthcare program in Charlotte. I do think she might understand this place's ability to train college teachers, high school teachers, elementary school teachers, future ministers. But today, as we celebrate you in an old space, and then later on in a new space, I challenge you to remember her words to you. And I challenge you, since you'll be on this campus today and tomorrow, to take a moment. Stop by that statue about 100 yards west of me, just a football field away. Stand in front of that statue. You'll note that Emily has a set of books clasped tightly to her chest, but one book is extended toward Highway 52, toward the center of campus, toward the world. I like to think that she's got some of her gifts that she's keeping for herself, but that she knows that the way up in this world is not to hoard your gifts for yourself, but to offer them to others. As you don the white coat this morning, and parents, as you watch your loved one have the white coat bestowed upon them, you may think about prestige for a moment. You may think about someone in your family breaking the cycle of poverty for a moment. You may think about a new alma mater. You may think about the relationships you've formed here. You may remember that you'll always be the first class of PA students. But I challenge you to do what Emily did, and to remember that the way up is the way down in many cases, down into the suffering of others, and that you have been called to be agents of healing in this place. We are so proud of you. We welcome all of you, some of you who have never been to this campus before, to a very special place, to the village of Meisenheimer and the Henry Pfeiffer Chapel. Welcome to Pfeiffer University, and may we celebrate heartily and well this weekend.
Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, we have so much to be thankful for today. We thank you for this place, this village. We thank you for these students, their faculty, staff who serve them. We thank you for their family and for their loved ones who have supported them. Lord, today I ask that you bless these students who will be agents of healing in our world, which is itself a ministry. We ask that you would bless them and their careers to faithful service. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Mike Kehoe. I'm principal faculty with the PA Studies program here at Pfeiffer. It is my distinct honor to introduce our speaker today. This gentleman has a background as a PA in emergency medicine, did his medical training at the Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. He serves as our liaison with Atrium Health here locally, oversees student placement, and his job title with Atrium is the Director of Academics. I would like to introduce to you, please, Mr. Craig Green.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. He left out all the bad stuff, which was, I paid him on the side for that, which was good. So welcome and good morning, everyone. And thank you for being here. To the faculty and staff of Pfeiffer University, thank you very much for the invitation to be up here. To the inaugural class, thank you for enduring this talk. Family, friends, and loved ones, appreciate you being here. So as mentioned, my name is Craig Green. I am a PA, and clinically I practice in the Department of Emergency Medicine just up the street in Charlotte, North Carolina. Great place to work, great place to be, and I know that many of you have come through our facilities at some point in time during your training. In my administrative role as the academic director, I've been able to really see the PA profession through a different lens, something that has been very powerful, something I didn't anticipate when I took on the role. I was a full-time ED jockey, seeing patients many, many hours a week. I was given the opportunity to take on a role to develop a fellowship program, not even in emergency medicine, but across multiple different specialties. And I had to think about that for a while and say, am I the right person for this? And then I thought about it. I talked to a couple of mentors and said, you know what? This is an opportunity that probably won't come again. So I did. I still remember the first day sitting in the office, staring at a computer with no patients, saying, what did I get myself into? And so there I started. And it was a great journey from there. Since then, I've had the opportunity to be the president of the Association of Postgraduate PA Programs and really helped to move the needle on postgraduate education across the country. I've sat on many councils, task force, and work groups with our 4 parenting orgs, which has allowed me to help move PA practice throughout our country, not just in our healthcare system. So I would say to you, as you start your journey, think about saying yes to opportunities. I also went to a new PA program. So as mentioned, I went to Mass College of Pharmacy in Boston. I was in their 2nd class, so you all are braver than I, being in the 1st class. So I know firsthand the trials and tribulations of being in a new program. New programs always go through ups and downs, and I promise you that Pfeiffer University has learned as much from you as you have from them. So thank you for your contributions there. As we get started, if you hear nothing else from what I have to say, if you can just remember this, you've heard it 100 times before, and you're going to hear it 1,000 times more. But hopefully it gets to the point where you no longer need to hear it. It's all about patient care. Everything that you do has to do around betterment for your patients. If you lead by that guiding principle, you can never be wrong. Even when you make a mistake, even when somebody has something negative to say about what you've done, if you did it with that in mind, then you are not wrong. This is an amazing profession. Again, I've had a chance to really be part of the growth and development of this profession in the past 20 years, really in the last 10 years as I've taken on a different role outside of doing just clinical medicine and being an academic and administrative medicine. It's a profession that was born right here in this state, as you all know, just a few miles down the street to the east. Dr. Eugene Stead in 1965 matriculated 4 Navy corpsmen into the 1st class, graduating 3 in 1967, and we turned 50 back in 2017, which is a fun celebration. Now turning 55, which seems pretty old, but in the scheme of things, it's just a blip in time. And we look back at what our profession has done, what we've accomplished is pretty remarkable for the amount of time that we've been around compared to our physician colleagues in other industries in healthcare. We started to fill a need in rural healthcare in underserved populations, focusing generally on primary care, although we're generally trained. Now, PAs practice in every single specialty of medicine and surgery across the board, really no stone unturned. So it's been a remarkable journey. With that, I'd like to tell you a little story, something I think probably many of you know something about. How you got here, how we all got to the roles that we're in. The journey that you embarked on some number of years ago when you decided you wanted to go into some form of medicine. Perhaps you didn't know if it would be medical school, PA school, or what else it might entail. But as you look forward, you realize in order to accomplish that goal, all you needed to do is take the hardest courses that your undergraduate school had to offer. So that's exciting. Your friends are in wine tasting 101 and kayaking 203 while you're matriculating in biochemistry 414. And so that's fun. They're enjoying the watering hole while you're enjoying the water from your eyes as you study through the night. To make that even more fun, all you had to do is get a really good GPA in those really hard classes, because you knew that the PA program would only be looking at your science GPAs. So if you fluffed it up with wine tasting 101, they didn't really care. To make it that much more challenging, PA programs require patient contact hours. So you had to figure out a way that you could graduate from your undergrad or find time to work it into your undergrad to then get patient contact hours, which for many of you meant taking on additional licensing, becoming a medical assistant, EMT, paramedic, nurse, whatever it might be, further prolonging your ability to get into PA school and the time that you start making an actual paycheck. Meanwhile, your friends that cruised through their 4 years of their undergrad have taken their first jobs. They're making gainful paychecks, maybe driving a shiny car, buying a house, and things that you can't dream of for years because you're investing in another $100,000 of student loans, as opposed to a fancy car or something to live in. But it was worth it, because sometime about 2.5 years ago, you all received a letter in the mail from Pfeiffer University saying, congratulations, you've been accepted into our inaugural class, which I'm sure was met with rejoice and celebration and excitement, as it should, because it's a huge accomplishment to get there, because it is the path less traveled. And then, somewhere around 2 years ago, you walked through the doors and sat down to meet your professors, your classmates, and learn of what your next year would look like. Undoubtedly, you had the experience I had when I walked into that administrative building for the first time, looked down at what you're expected to accomplish in a year and said, is this possible? Can I even do this in a year? Can someone cram this much knowledge into my head in the next 365 days? What have I gotten myself into? But you buckled down, got through it, sleepless nights, cramming all night long, reading, regurgitating, trying to do all the things you could do to pass your exams, weekends in the library, working as groups, trying to help your friends and your classmates get through the things that they don't know, and hoping to God that somebody knows the things that you don't so they can teach you in kind. Living in a bubble for a full year, not being able to emerge to know what's going on in the lives around you because all of your time is consumed in the books and trying to cram all this medical knowledge into your head in an unreasonable amount of time. But finally, you made it. You got through your clinical year, your didactic year, and now you're excited because the clinical year is here. And that's what we all want. That's why we came to PA school, to take care of patients. So now you're excited because you get to go out and start to see patients. I can tell you how my experience went. Very excited, get my schedule, my clinical rotation schedule, rip it open it up. First rotation, emergency medicine. Look down, read it again. It says emergency medicine. Look up, professor, that's got probably some sort of a typo here because it says I'm starting in emergency medicine. Yep, well, someone's got to do it. You drew the short straw. You can handle it. Okay, so that's what we do. Buckle down, get through it, show up to your first day in the emergency department. And as all of you, I'm sure, recall from your emergency medicine rotations, it is organized chaos, and organized is being used kindly. It is scuttlebutt. Everyone's running around. You're the lost sheep. And finally, somebody looks up and says, oh, there's a lost sheep. Oh, that must be that Pfeiffer PA student that's coming. That was me many moons ago. You must be the new student. All right, we're busy. Grab a chart. Back then, we actually had charts. Paper and all that, pens and things like that. Grab a chart, go to the room with patient room 27. Sweet. That's what I came here for. I get to see a patient. Pull the chart. It's a 36-year-old female with abdominal pain. Sweet. Only about 1,000 things that could possibly be going on in this room. So you come in, you sit down, have a nice 45-minute long conversation with this lovely young woman. You take a very thorough history, do a very thorough physical. You come out to find your preceptor. Preceptor's busy, as they always are, and says, okay, is she sick? I'm like, she has abdominal pain. No. All right. What's her pulse rate? I don't. Well, what's her blood pressure? Well, is she pregnant? I don't know if I asked that. I don't care if you asked that. What did the test say? I didn't order any tests. You mean to tell me you've been in that room for 45 minutes and you know absolutely nothing about your patient? Yeah. Head drop, big sigh, stomach fills with anxiety. Look around. I am the least knowledgeable person in this entire facility. Wow. I came out of my first year of my didactics thinking I knew it because of the amount of time I studied. Boy, was I wrong. But now here you are, somewhere around 10 roller coaster rides later, where each month you got to go in and be that person who knew the least in the room. And each month you emerge on the other side, knowing a whole lot more than you started, and also knowing that there's a whole lot more to learn. You got to enjoy coming back to campus every month to do your post-rotation exams, take your OSCEs, probably throw up before most of those. Those are a lot of fun, but you made it. And now here we are, and you're about to don your long white coats, which is an amazing accomplishment. So I'd like to leave you with about 6 thoughts, things that have been helpful in my career, and perhaps things that I wish I knew when I started my career. So the first thing is gratitude. That journey that I just described, that all of you most likely had some rendition thereof, that journey was not done alone. The people behind you, the people in your lives helped to get you through that. Parents, spouses, siblings, some of you children, friends, loved ones, they were there for you when you needed it. They were that beacon in the darkness, the shoulder to lean on when you just needed someone to talk to, maybe the punching bag when you were frustrated and just needed a vent. They have been and will continue to be there for you in your future. You'll develop new comrades that will be there for you as well. It's incredibly important that you not only have these people in your life, but you acknowledge the work that they've done. I've got some news for you. I know this is going to come as a shock, but medicine is hard. It's very, very hard. And there's going to be lots of down days, lots of days that you need that help. So with that, if the class of 2022 could stand up, if you're willing and able, turn around and face all those who helped to get you here and give them a round of applause. Thank you for all that you have done to help this class get through these last 2 years. All right, second one, humility. Always be humble and kind. There is a music reference in there. It's incredibly important. The practice of medicine is one of the greatest honors and privileges that our society can possibly have. You have worked hard for it, you've earned it. But never underestimate its power and never take it for granted. Despite all the work that you and all your loved ones have put into getting you to where you are today, nobody owes you anything. You have the honor and privilege to go serve those in need. You'll have the privilege of treating patients on their worst days. That 46-year-old healthy young man that comes in with belly pain, been throwing up for a couple of days, hasn't been feeling well, hasn't been eating well. You don't like your exam, you scan him, he's got metastatic pancreatic cancer. You've seen that story too many times. You know how it ends. And you're there for them in that time of need. They're not there to just get the diagnosis. Yes, they want answers. They need to know why they're not feeling well. They want your compassion, your guidance, your empathy, time to sit down and talk to them about what's happening. A caring touch. What they don't need is medical knowledge superiority. It has been proven in the literature time and time again. Patients just expect that we know everything. We came out of our medical school, PA school, nurse practitioner school, you name it, and we just magically know everything. And we're going to be perfect all the time. Their expectation isn't that they're testing you on your medical knowledge. It's how can you care for them? They don't want stubbornness. They don't want to hear that they have to do something, be demanding to say that this is how you get better. And if you don't do it, I just can't help you. That's not going to help them in their fight. They don't want shame and blame. They probably know that the uncontrolled diabetes, cigarette smoking, and obesity contributed to that heart attack. What they need right now is you to be empathetic and caring to help get them through their journey. They don't want rush visits because you're busy. You need to figure out how you can show them that they're the most important person in your world in the moment that you're taking care of them. Always remember that your patients are people first. They're not diagnoses. We have very busy jobs. We get caught up in that. We read the punchline. We see that they're hypertensive, hyperlipidemic, diabetic, with out of control blood sugar, who's coming in with chest pain. And we focus in on those risk factors and we go right to work. But that patient is a person first. And what they want out of that visit may not be what you want out of that visit. You need to meet them where they are. 75-year-old woman with a degenerative back disc disease and hip disease may not be looking for a hip replacement right now. She may just want to be able to walk enough that she can get to see you graduate from your PA program. So make sure that you meet your patients where they are, because that's incredibly important if you're going to have effective care plans. Number 3, perseverance. Have I mentioned yet that medicine's hard? Yeah, it is. You're going to need to find the energy and the strength to pick yourself back up when you get knocked down. So I'm here to tell you, it's going to happen again and again and again. I've thought about wearing knee pads to work just because I've skinned my knees so many times. But you need to find the strength to get yourself up each time you get knocked down. Whether it's from a clinical scenario, whether it's from an interpersonal interaction that doesn't go well. I mean, I think y'all have seen enough in the past 12 months to know that there's some pretty significant personalities in medicine, and you may crash into those from time to time. You need to find a way to work through it. You know that this is a lifelong learning journey. Medicine changes so rapidly. If you were to practice the same way today as you do in 10 years, then you're essentially a dinosaur that is irrelevant. You need to embark on a lifelong journey of learning. One thing that getting through the program in 2 years has proven is that you have perseverance. So don't lose it. Number 4, flexibility. Healthcare is rapidly evolving. This will be the only reference that I make to the pandemic. We haven't seen medicine change at the rate that it has in the past 2 years, ever. Before this, medicine was still hard to keep up with. There's new EMRs, there's new tools. That dang tonometer that you just finally figured out, well, they gave you a new one today. Now you got to figure that out. Something is going to change in your practice nearly every day. You need to be flexible. You need to be able to adapt, keep your composure, and move forward. It's not just in your day-to-day clinical practice. Things are changing in how we deliver healthcare. Back when I graduated from PA school, most PAs were hired by physicians, individual physicians or small physician groups. Now, the vast majority of PAs are hired by healthcare systems or government organizations or insurance companies. This means a whole lot in what you do in your day-to-day. Jobs will merge, systems will come 3, 2, and then 1. You'll have new opportunities, new job responsibilities that you can take on, new practice guidelines. Flexibility is a must. Along that line, number 5 is open-mindedness. The world that you're entering into as a PA is very different than the one that I entered into nearly 20 years ago. We now have doctorate degrees for PAs, DMS, DPA, there'll probably be a few other letters that come up in some sequence thereof. We have fellowship programs. Those really almost didn't exist when I graduated from PA school. There are very few of them. PAs, nurse practitioners, nurse midwives, physicians, MDs, DOs, RNs, rad techs, physical therapists, occupational therapists. They're not competition. None of this is competition. I encourage you to be open-minded as you go into your practice. Identify those things that you want to associate with, learn about them. Things like optimal team practice, full practice authority. I'm not telling you to support or that you need to be on board with those, but you need to be knowledgeable of them. Be open-minded, look at them, investigate them, and take your own stance, but make sure that you do your due diligence. The last and final one, number 6, is resilience and self-wellness. I can't stress this one enough. You need to be the best you to take the best care of your patients. And that is a proven fact. Healthcare is hard. There's always been high stress, high burnout in healthcare. What we do terribly as healthcare providers is take care of ourselves. So I can tell you firsthand from personal experiences, some very recent, that when we stop taking care of ourselves, bad things happen. So I encourage you to look inside, assess when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling burnt out, when you're having a hard time practicing medicine, the capacity that you always have. And if you're feeling those things, please reach out to the people behind you, to your teammates, to your colleagues. I assure you, each and every one of us wants to care for you, but we seldom let other people in. I also encourage you to look to your teammates and your colleagues. Identify when they're going through those same down times and make sure that you can be there for them. I have had countless people, hundreds, have come to my office and broke down in tears. Some just needed a shoulder. Some needed more. Some I escorted to the behavioral health emergency department. And I'm glad I did. Every time I was grateful to be there for someone else. So do this for yourselves and do this for others. All right. With that, I'll close this out. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm grateful to have been able to spend some time. Hopefully, you'll find some of those things helpful as you enter into your career. As you don these white coats this morning, please remember that they're not a symbol of power or status, but they're rather a beacon of light to your patients, to your colleagues, and to your family. I look forward to transitioning from calling you PA students to PA colleagues and working alongside. With that, I'll hand it over for the white coat ceremony.
Thank you, Craig and Boozer, for your words of wisdom. It's words to live by, folks. I'm Tom Earnhardt, and I am thankful that each of you are here to share this occasion with us. To each of you, I could not be more proud. You've done it. And for that, I'm happy to call you my colleague. As we call your name, if you would please come forward to receive your white coat. Laurel Barnett. Marissa Cook. Kayla Donnelly. Samantha Gullidge. Dalton Helms. Rachel Kiker. Kayla Miles. Rachel Nance. Nak Nguyen. Megan Norris. Faith Presley. Doran Ramirez. Hunter Rogers. Elizabeth Salcedo. Robert Schwartz. Morgan Socks. Cheryl Steele. Emily Womble. Nathan Woodward.
Now to administer the oath is Dr. Jenny Henson. Dr. Jenny Henson is with Carolina's Hospitalist Group at Atrium Health Stanley. A graduate of East Carolina University School of Medicine, Dr. Henson completed her residency in internal medicine and pediatrics at the Baylor College of Medicine. She is certified by both the American Board of Internal Medicine and Pediatrics. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Henson.
I'd like to add to that I grew up in this county and my husband teaches Pfeiffer here on the undergraduate campus. So your success has personal meaning for me and I am deeply honored to be here today. Please stand. Repeat each phrase after me. As a physician assistant, I will hold as my primary responsibility the health, safety, welfare, and dignity of all human beings. I will uphold the tenets of patient autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. I will recognize and promote the value of diversity. I will treat equally all persons who seek my care. I will hold in confidence the information shared in the course of practicing medicine. I will assess my personal capabilities and limitations, striving always to improve my medical practice. I will actively seek to expand my knowledge and skills, keeping abreast of advances in medicine. I will work with other members of the healthcare team to provide compassionate and effective care of patients. I will use my knowledge and experience to contribute to an improved community. I will respect my professional relationship with the physician. I will share and expand knowledge within the profession. Guard your compassion as you would one of your most precious treasures or possessions, and don't let anybody take it from you. Congratulations. You may be seated.
going to go off script for just 1 second, and I would like to welcome to the stage our Student Government Association President, Rachel Kiker, if you'd please come forward.
By off script, he really means it. I found out about this earlier, so I apologize. My speech isn't well written and spoken, but I'd like to congratulate the 18 faces I see looking at me. We did it somehow. We were flexible beyond imagine. We've had some laughs, some tears, some fights between us, but at the end of the day, I'm happy to be up here with each of you. So I'd also like to say a few words and thank some of the people who got us here. Ms. Deidre Harwood, if you wouldn't mind coming forward. We appreciate everything you have done and organized for us through the years. So we'd just like to recognize you and give you a round of applause. We'd also like to thank Ms. Amy Dry, if you wouldn't mind coming forward as well. She has helped with clinical rotations and has stood by us through this whole time as well and has honestly helped us there. So we'd like to thank you as well with a round of applause.
Ms. Harwood made the flyer. If I had put it on there, she would have taken it off. So I'm Scott Fisher. I am the program director for the Pfeiffer University PA program, and today is my 5th day. I wanted to say thank you to all of you because you made today possible. And I wanted to talk quick about ripples in the pond. From concept to today and what tomorrow looks like. 19 providers sitting before me. 25 patient visits a day apiece. You're going to see 500 patient visits a week. That's over 100,000 patient visits a year because of a concept bought into by the community, the university, the members, students, faculty, and staff that made today possible. Congratulations, and I look forward to all the great things that you all are going to do. I'd like to ask you to please give another round of applause to our students, and I'd like our faculty and staff for the program to please stand to be recognized. One of the best parts about being in charge of anything is getting to recognize those that went just a little bit more, did just a little bit more than others. Behind the scenes, we were able to establish a chapter for the Pi Alpha Honor Society, the National Honor Society for Physician Assistants, which allows us to recognize the top 15% of graduates and induct them into this honor society. And that's what we're about to do. I'd like to please ask our first recipient, Megan Norris, could you please come forward? Robert Schwartz. Nathan Woodward. We are also able to induct into the Honor Society faculty members that have also worked tirelessly on behalf of creating new physician assistants. And so I would like to please ask Professor Dale Patterson to please come up. Our next recipient is Dr. Michael Kehoe. Mike, would you please come forward? The Honor Society also allows one honorary non-PA to be inducted into the Honor Society. Would you all please welcome to the stage one more time, Ms. Amy Dry.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Christopher Bowe, and I have the privilege to serve Pfeiffer University as Dean of her graduate school. This morning, we've gathered as a Falcon family to mark milestones in the medical education of these students, the life of the Pfeiffer University Physician Assistant Studies program, and the history of Pfeiffer University. It has certainly been a day to celebrate. As the academic component of this journey comes to an end and you become licensed physician assistants in the very near future, know that you have gained the knowledge and professional skills necessary to make you successful in your endeavors. Be aware, though, that much learning is to come. As learners along the lifespan, it is my desire that you look at this opportunity as Albert Einstein did, by never regarding study as a duty, but rather as the enviable opportunity to learn. Along with the content knowledge and clinical skills you possess at this point, and will continue to refine in your professional work, I urge you to spend some time before your first professional appointment and in the moments between each of your patients, considering the dispositions necessary to be successful in the healing professions. Saint Teresa of Calcutta noted that the greatest disease in the West today is not TB or leprosy, but rather it is being unwanted, unloved, and uncared for. We can cure physical diseases with medicine, but the only cure for loneliness, despair, and hopelessness is love. It is my sincere hope that as practicing clinical care providers, you will, through your example and the way you interact with those you serve, emulate what you have been learning here at Pfeiffer in the care that you provide to the least, the lost, and the last. This morning is indeed a celebration. Pfeiffer University, my colleagues across the graduate school, and all of the friends of our Physician Assistant Studies program congratulate you, each of you, and all of you together on achieving this milestone. You certainly demonstrated grit. You persevered, and you succeeded. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me again in congratulating the Pfeiffer University Master of Science in Physician Assistant Studies program's inaugural program completers. While this morning is primarily a celebration of you, our students, and your achievements, and as many of my colleagues have noted, a celebration that you wouldn't have gotten to without the help of some others, I am going to take another opportunity to offer some appreciation both on your behalf and on behalf of the institution. So I hope you will go with me in this regard. The journey you've traveled as students from discernment to graduate of Pfeiffer University has not been a solitary one that you traveled alone. There have been many people who have sojourned with you. First, I would like to take a moment on behalf of myself and the administration of Pfeiffer to thank the faculty and staff of the Physician Assistant Studies program here at Pfeiffer. Our program was a new one, and as such required a great deal from the servant leaders who served here and who continue to serve here in terms of their time, their energy, and their expertise. Members of the faculty and staff of the Physician Assistant Studies program, would you please stand one more time so that all of us may recognize your efforts in teaching, guiding, and mentoring the graduates to this particular moment. Secondly, and once again, I think it is important to express appreciation to the family and friends of the graduates that we honor today. Whether you helped with the initial application process, have provided encouragement, even if that looked like a kick in the pants or whatever your version of that is in your family, have taken time to laugh and joke, and sometimes even cry, have prayed, sent care packages, provided funds, or just been quietly supportive in the background. You have been part of making this day a reality. If you are here today in support of one of the graduates that we are honoring in this white coat ceremony, please stand so that the students, the faculty, the administration, and I can recognize you for your vital contribution, without which these students would not be able to be here today. As we close our time together in this space and transition to the Center for Health Sciences to continue your celebration at a reception in your honor, I charge you with the words from a benediction that has been adapted by many ministers and theologians over the years. This particular version has been penned by the Reverend Dr. Benjamin Boswell. I think it speaks clearly to the ethos of a Pfeiffer graduate education and to the work that we encourage you to do in the world, both in the clinical setting and in your everyday lives. It prays, may the Creator bless you and keep you. May the Lord's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God give you the grace to never sell yourself short, the grace to risk something big for something good, the grace to remember that the world is too dangerous for anything but truth and too small for anything but love. So may God take your minds and think through them. May God take your lips and speak through them. May God take your hands and work through them. And may God take your hearts and set them on fire. Again, congratulations on completing the Physician Assistant Studies program and the master's degree. Best wishes for great success.